Yeah. Week 1 NFL.
The people
You
coming
live?
in. Yeah,
You
it looks like
live?
I'm. It looks like I'm live. Can't tell
Yeah,
though.
it
I'm gonna look
says you
on.
live.
I can look on my phone too. My other phone.
Yeah. Yeah, we just gonna give it a minute or so.
All right. Or sometimes we can just start talking and like ask people, because it's just to get this get everything going.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna keep recording of it, right?
Yep.
So
All right. So give me a second here, and we're gonna do a 1 minute countdown. Hey. How's everybody going? We are live on Facebook right now, and it is that time of year. The summer is over, and the fall has started to come in the East Coast. And I'm here with my good friend Tony Robinson. He's in Texas. I'm in Arizona. We're going to talk everything today about a little bit of NFL, a little bit about whatever you want to. Please put your comments in the comment section if you want. Please like and share. Let your friends know that we are doing something here and just talking NFL. So Tony, I'm so happy that the NFL is back. I'm so tired of arguing with you over who's the best, who's the GOAT, and LeBron James and Jordan. I mean, you must have sent me like a thousand things on Facebook and Instagram trying to get that conversation going. I am tired of it. I'm ready to talk football. How you doing, partner?
pretty good, man. Thanks for having me. Like you said, LeBron is the goat. You acknowledge
Absolutely.
that. You acknowledge that, and you always
Nah,
will.
nah.
You just play it off a little bit. So
Nah, man, this is a welcome sight to have the NFL back, man. I kind of been like I want to say like a little bit of a hiatus here over the last year and a half, man. My wife, she's been going to nursing school and things of that nature, and she, as you know, when she first started about 16 months ago, and I was trying to do business and things like that, she came out the room yelling and screaming about, hey, be quiet. And I'm like, what do you mean be quiet? I'm talking to clients. I'm trying to do business. And she's just yelling and screaming that she couldn't think. And so I had to like really scale back and give her a sterile environment to really study. And it worked, man. Like we're at the end of that. She's graduated already. She's looking to take her state boards here over the next month. And now I can get back to doing what I do, talking to clients, talking sports, being loud, having fun. I mean, I've been home. I haven't worked a regular job in 10 years. Of course, got my own business. And so, this was a big change for me to take a step back. But I am so happy now to be moving forward, man, and having fun. And the NFL is here. And let's jump right in, man. Let's talk about the big Michael Parsons trade. Back a few days ago, all summer, Michael Parsons has been, crying about, a new contract and things of that nature. And Jerry Jones seemed to have wanted to give Michael Parsons a new contract back in the spring. He brought Michael Parsons in, spoke to Michael Parsons about what was going, his leadership and everything like that. And I guess somehow contract came up, and during that conversation, I heard that there was a number of $40.5 million a year thrown around to Micah Parsons, which is a lot of money. And I guess after they left the room, Jerry Jones being over 80, he thought he had a handshake deal going. And I guess when it went back to Micah Parsons' agent, I guess it was like a no go. So, Jerry Jones got pissed off, and this is how this kind of all transpired. What do you think about how that transpired and how it was handled by Jerry Jones and Michael Parsons and his agent, if that's true?
Well, I mean, it's all here, it's all speculation. Because I don't think the full gist of what happened came out. That's what I mean, that's just I'm a person that looks at the outs. I'm an outside the box thinker, so whatever's put out into like the media and stuff like that, I kind of like want to see more, want to pull back the layers of the onion and stuff like that to see everything that went on.
Right.
We heard some stuff from Jerry Jones' side. It was an ESPN article that said he received a message from Parsons' agent saying that pretty much go shove it up his butt.
Yeah, that was crazy.
But then I find out that that's not what happened because the agent said I didn't say that. I would never say that, especially in a contract negotiation. So when you think about it like that, we got to like take it with a grain of salt because we're dealing with Jerry here.
Right, right.
Jerry,
I mean,
for the Cowboys, the entertainment team, they're not really trying to win anymore. They won 30 years ago, but right now they're making billions of dollars just off of entertainment. So
yeah, that's crazy.
So with Michael Parsons wanting the deal, I mean, I feel like there's more to it. Like we talked about the other day, Michael Parsons maybe wasn't a favorite in the locker room. We don't know
Hmm.
that. That came up in the media, but I don't know anybody that's on the defensive side would not want to have Michael Parsons on their team. So I don't know what kind of transpired in those conversations. So I think it probably had some shouting matches and stuff like that. You know how Jerry is.
Yeah,
Like you said, once the microphone gets too big, Parsons has a podcast, so
yeah.
his microphone was getting too big for Jerry Jones, so he had to get him out of there. So
For
I
Jerry
don't know.
Jones and the Dallas Cowboys, because obviously he said some things about Dak Prescott, and I heard that kind of rubbed Dak the wrong way too. But I mean, all that being said, it seemed like feelings got into the whole thing. I mean, when you all of a sudden, we hear breaking news that Parsons gets traded to the Green Bay Packers, and it's a big shock to everyone. And it's like, wow, I think it was a big shock to Michael Parsons too. But I mean, he gets a 4-year deal, $188 million, and in turn, the Dallas Cowboys get 2 first-round picks over the next couple of years, and they will probably be close to late round first picks. And then they also get Kenny Clark, who's an All-Pro defensive alignment, which Jerry says we haven't been able to stop the run all these years, even though we had Micah Parsons. From a Jerry Jones perspective, I kind of understand it. I don't like the Cowboys. I'm not a Cowboys fan. Of course, I'm a Redskins fan, Commanders fan, whatever you want to call them now, but they are the Commanders. And I am just happy that I don't have to see him twice a year unless we meet Green Bay in the playoffs. However, if that's the case, I don't see how the Dallas Cowboys was trying to pay $60 million for a Dak Prescott, who was injured last season. $34 million to CeeDee Lamb, and now they got George Pickens, who was on a 1-year rental, and then all of a sudden you throw in another 40+ million for Michael Parsons. I'm not quite sure that kind of jives anyway. So then now he just signed Bland just a couple of days ago because he didn't have to pay Michael Parsons. So how do you believe that this is going to affect the Dallas Cowboys, and how do you think it's going to actually help the Green Bay Packers, who people say that they're going to be probably Super Bowl bound or bust this year with this new trade?
Well, I think that the way it changes the Dallas team as a whole from the offensive side, I believe Dak is going to have to pass a little more. Even though that's what he's been doing since we've seen him with the Cowboys, I think he's going to have to pass a lot more because the defense is going to not be able to make that many stops without Parsons. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the players that they bring in, I feel like they still can be viable, have a viable defense to like stop other teams and stuff like that. Maybe keep them within 20 points a game, that give up 20
Mm-hmm.
points a game. But I feel like it's going to be a breakout year, another breakout year for Dak. I think he's going to throw over 4,000 yards because he's going to have to pass. If they get down, he's going to have
Wow.
to chuck it. He's going to have to chuck it. And with the addition the addition of Pickens, that's going to bring a new dynamic because you can't double anybody. You got
Well,
CeeDee
they
Lamb, you
essentially
got
got two
Pickens.
number one receivers. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, you got two number one receivers. You got it's just you can't double anybody, and and all the other guys that are the receivers that are going to be on the field around them going to eat too because they're going to be open. They're going to put their best defenders on those two guys, and it's going to open up a lot more. But for the Packers side, I believe that it can change their defense. Their defense has always been on the cusp of being good, but they've been having issues with the DBs and stuff like that. But adding somebody
they
like
were top five last year too. Remember that they were
yeah,
top five offense, top five defense, but they couldn't beat Detroit, and they had
it
problems
was
with
the
Minnesota.
it was the passing game that the defensive the DBs in the background that couldn't stop the DBs, the receivers or whatever. That's what I observed anyway. But I think adding a pass rusher in Parsons can actually speed up the quarterback to make them, make some bad mistakes and throw picks and stuff like that, get more turnovers and stuff like that, more sacks. It'll open up the defense for everybody, and it's going to make it better for the offense to play because they know they have a solidified defense that can back them up. So
Yeah,
top five defense was good last year, but it's like when you add a Parsons, it should go up.
yeah.
Hopefully.
Well, look, and my perspective would be is that Packers was top five defense last year, top five offense last year. They couldn't get past sixth place in the conference. They got the last playoff spot behind the Commanders, and then they had a lot of problems with Detroit, teams with speed and things of that nature. And then they start off the season with the Detroit Lions, and then I'm hearing that they got the Detroit Lions on Sunday coming up, and then they play Thursday night in Green Bay again. So they got two home games. They got Detroit coming in, and then they got the Commanders coming in on a short week. And people are saying that they don't even know if Michael Parsons is even going to be playing. So they said that he might have to have an epidural to pay this guy this kind of money, and he has to have an epidural. He's got back issues already, and the NFL does a great job with understanding and all of their physicals. They're not going to really pay a guy that they don't think that can play that kind of money if he can't pass a physical. But they let this pass. They let this go through, and they signed Micah Parsons. They know that he's got some back issues. How do you think it might play out over the next few weeks with Micah Parsons getting on the football field?
Well, I think he's going to play. He wants to play, but in my opinion, I feel like he shouldn't play because it's just one game, one or two games. Just let him rest because you're going to need Michael Parsons for the long haul. When you're trying to make the playoff run, you don't want to have an injury like that coming up in the wintertime, because
Yes.
how the older we get, those aches and pains come up in the cold weather. I played
It's
football
crazy.
in Cleveland in the snow.
Mm-hmm.
Those aches and pains, they will come back. If you have any injuries in the beginning of the season or whatever. But I feel like it could make or break the team if he, hopefully he doesn't hurt his back even more. That's the thing, if he tries to force it and don't go through his, physical therapy and stuff like that, taking an epidural may not be the answer. I mean, but he's making millions of dollars. He's making millions of dollars. So it's like, I mean, they have the best trainers in the world, so it's kind of hard to like bypass, if the player wants to play, they're going to play. Just put it like that, because it's like
Right.
the old school football. Like
I mean, the epidural, though, man. Like, I mean, we think of epidurals that they give women when they're having babies. I mean, now you're talking about giving this to a player that's got a $188 million contract, $47 million a year, and he might have to take an epidural to play the game. I mean, that's just outrageous.
I mean, it sounds like that injury is really bad if you got to do that,
Yeah. And do you want to mask the injury and then potentially get it worse, or have him play on a snap count against Detroit and then miss a lot of time this year? I mean, they have to really be careful when it comes to that in that game. So you know what? So Micah Parsons is now gone. We'll put that aside. Now we've got this game coming up on Thursday night. You had the defending Super Bowl champions Dallas Cowboys going into Philadelphia in a hostile environment and the defending Super Bowl champions, Philadelphia Eagles. And there was a lot of things going on during the offseason where Fowler from ESPN, he actually talked to a bunch of GMs around the league, and they said that Jalen Hurts was not even a top 10 quarterback. Now, I personally don't agree with that. I think he's at least top 5, top 6. And I think that if they put Jaden Daniels at 5 and Jalen Hurts in out of the top 10, which is kind of outrageous to me. And I think that if you're really trying to jockey and see where he fits in there, I think you got to take Jaden Daniels out and put in Jalen Hurts at least top 5, because remember the last 3 Super Bowls, Jalen Hurts has outplayed Patrick Mahomes twice. I mean, he lost one that he should have won here in Arizona, but then last year he just obliterated Patrick Mahomes and that football team. And so you're going to say Jalen Hurts is not a top 5 quarterback. What do you say about that report that came out?
I'll have to say I don't agree. Like you said, I don't agree with it either, because I go off of who's won Super Bowls out of those top 5 people that you're saying is better than him. If he's not top 5, who besides Mahomes? I don't know, but they have their different.
There's none of them in the top 5 that has won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, but the only players that I put up against him is like Mahomes. Let's see here. We got Mahomes. We got.
You got Lamar Jackson,
quarterback. Lamar Jackson. Yeah, he has to be top 5 because he has a Super Bowl.
Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow. We're not even disputing that.
Joe Burrow is like, it's kind of like my favorite, besides Mahomes, like my favorite quarterback.
Josh Allen. Even
though I'm a Browns fan, I like how he plays, and it's just Joe Burrow is just nasty to me because the way he moves around in the pocket and stuff like that. And Mahomes is the same way, but I still have to bring Jalen Hurts up because he has a Super Bowl. Besides Mahomes, he has a Super Bowl. Nobody else has a Super Bowl in the top 5.
Yeah,
I mean,
and Josh Allen.
All these top quarterbacks, they may have MVPs, but they don't have Super Bowls. So you can't, like, when it comes to that, like he was an integral piece in their Super Bowl drive, the Super Bowl win. So, I don't know. I have to go against that. So,
yeah. And so at the end of the day, I think that if you're looking at this game coming up on Thursday night, I think that the Cowboys are going to have their hands full. And I think that it's going to be an interesting game because the Cowboys really have not really had Micah Parsons all camp, right? So they haven't really been practicing with Micah Parsons. So the defense is what it is. And so Eberflus now, the former head coach of the Chicago Bears, he's the defensive coordinator now for the Cowboys. And you got Brian Schottenheimer now as the coach. And remember that he was in charge. He was the offensive coordinator the last couple of years. He didn't call the plays, but he still drew them plays up. And now you have, Pickens, and then you also have the Philadelphia Eagles have lost something also on the defensive side of the football. So I think what Jerry Jones is saying to himself is that, hey, we don't need Micah Parsons. We have a $60 million a year quarterback. And when Dak Prescott is not a scrub, right? He's not a scrub. So he can actually play very well when he's healthy. And so I think that Jerry Jones is betting we need to score 30 points a game and just hope our defense don't allow our opponents to score 32 points a game. But you got Saquon Barkley coming off of over 2,000 year campaign in Philly, and then you've got A.J. Brown there too. And so you still got that big offensive line, the tush push that they tried to get out of the game, but it didn't work. So you have a lot of different things going on. Who do you think that, coming out of this game that is going to really favor the Philadelphia Eagles or the Dallas Cowboys? And do you think that it's going to be a big problem for the Cowboys not being able to stop, not being able to pass rush with Micah Parsons?
Well, like you said, the guy that they pick up, what was the guy that came in from Green Bay? Clark. So with him, if he can shore up the running game, if he shores up the running game like Jerry thinks, I feel like, it's hard to stop Saquon though because he can catch the ball out of the backfield too. So even if they try to stop the run, he's gonna get dump offs and he's gonna
Mm-hmm.
gash you for 15 plus yards potentially. So I feel like he is. I think their team dynamic is hard to go against because Hurts can run the ball too. Like when you got
Right.
Hurts running the ball, you got Saquon, you got whoever the backups are. But then you play action them and throw the deep ball to Brown. It's like it's too many different nuances to their offense that it's kind of hard to beat or hard to stop. To say you're
Hard
going
to
to come in
stop.
and
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to say you're going to come in and stop them because there's no way you can stop all those different aspects of the offense. From my
Right.
opinion, that's my humble opinion. Who
Yeah.
am I? I'm just somebody that's talking about football. So, but
Yeah, I
just to
mean,
be,
and so I mean that's an awesome take, and um, they're gonna be top ranked. The Eagles are gonna be top ranked all season, and until somebody goes and beats the champs, right? And I think if everybody stays healthy, I think the Eagles are gonna be right back where they, right back in the mix again, for one of the top teams in the league. And the Commanders is gonna have their hands full trying to chase the Eagles all season. A little bit about the Commanders game. They played the Giants this week, so the Giants have to go to Landover to play the Commanders. You have Jaden Daniels coming off of a rookie season where he was Rookie of the Year, and he just took the league by storm. So I'm looking at this game, and Dallas and the Eagles, and then you've got the Giants and Washington, and these are big games because you start off the division 1-0 versus 0-1. And then, for the Commanders, it's really important because they got to go and play the Green Bay Packers on a short week on Thursday night in Green Bay after they play the Giants. And usually these NFC East games, these teams beat each other up. Even this game coming up with Dallas and the Eagles. And so Jaden Daniels takes the league by storm. He goes in and he gets into the playoffs. He beats the not the Green Bay Packers, but the Buccaneers on the road. He beats the Detroit Lions, who nobody gave him a chance to win. And in an NFC Championship game, the Commanders had 3 turnovers, not by Jaden Daniels, that really broke that game open. But I got the feeling in that game that if they could stay close enough without the turnovers, that they always had a chance to come back because Jaden Daniels brought them back earlier in the season in the game against Philadelphia after 5 turnovers. And so what do you think? Everybody talks about a sophomore slump and things of that nature about these rookie quarterbacks coming in as a sophomore slump. What do you think about people saying that there's going to be a sophomore slump for Jaden Daniels?
for Jaden Daniels, I think he's going to have a big slump. He's going to have a really big. I'm just saying that because you're a Commanders fan. I'm a Brown, so yeah. But no, I don't think because for me, sophomore slumps. I don't know. I don't know if this is factual, but I look on the outside looking in. I think that usually the sophomore slumps is when you don't have any other attributes to bring to the table if your passing game's not going. He has the running game that can actually change the game for the offense. So it's like if his passing game's not going, he's going to get it on the ground. He can run the ball, and
Mm-hmm.
then the pass will open up because they added Debo Samuel. So I don't feel like it's going to be
Yeah,
a
yeah.
sophomore slump because of the guys they have around him. They put
Mm-hmm.
Debo Samuel around him is gonna. I think that's going to be a good fit for him because all those sweeps coming around and like just
Yep,
I don't
just
know,
sweeps.
throwing it up over to McLaren. You just signed him to a new contract, so I just think he's not going to have a sophomore slump. But the other players, have sophomore slumps because they don't. I think you have to run the ball. If you don't run the ball, then you could fall into that because the defense knows what you're going to do. But when you can pass and run the ball, I feel like
Mm-hmm.
it's a little different because you can't stop one thing. The
Right.
quarterback just he doesn't do one thing. So because he does multiple things, you can't stop him. You can't slow him down or whatever. They can just like Lamar Jackson. He never had
Mm-hmm.
a sophomore slump because he can run the ball too.
Yep.
So I don't think he had one because I mean we play him twice a year, so I know he didn't have a sophomore slump against us. So
He didn't
um,
have a sophomore slump. No, I mean, as the way I look at it is, when you add a Debo Samuel and you sign Scary Terry again, which was crazy, right? That it took them this long to sign Scary Terry. He wanted 32, 34, $33 million. The commander says, wait a minute, guy. I mean, you're going to be 30 years old. And the analytics say that at 30, you're not going to be as good as you. If we give you for 4 years, you're not going to be good at 34 years old. So why would we continue to pay you this money? But he still got a deal, right? And I think it was a fair deal that Terry got. That's why he's back now playing. And so I think that was a really important step for the Commanders to do, to re-sign him, because now you've got a deep threat for Jaden Daniels. And with his accuracy, Terry had 1,000 yards receiving last year, 13 touchdowns, and he was every bit of dynamite last year. You throw Deebo Samuels in the mix, now you're good. Now, the Commanders did upgrade their line. They got Laramie Tunsil from the Houston, Texas, right? All-pro tackle to protect Jaden Daniels' blind side. And then they got Connerly, who's on the right side, who they got as a young draft pick. So they revamped their line, right? And now they got rid of Brian Robinson. And Brian Robinson, because we have a guy now, Kobe Cross-Kamerit, is now a 7th-round draft pick who played in Arizona last year. He had some problems with eligibility, and he sat the whole year. So he comes into camp as a 7th-round draft pick, and they call him Bill. His name is Jacoby Cross-Kamerit, but they called him, his first name, he wants to be called Bill. And then he had a nice 30-yard run against the Bengals in his first preseason game, and that he was just so good in camp. It allowed the Commanders to actually trade Brian Robinson to the actual San Francisco 49ers. So that's a huge big deal there. And so I think with the Commanders and the Giants, you can't sleep on the Giants, because the Giants have a really good defense. I think the Giants are going to have maybe a top 5 to top 10 defense this year.
Abdul Carter. So
yeah. Abdul Carter is a big deal. And, you got Russell Wilson, and some people don't really agree with starting Russell Wilson over Jackson Dart in this game. They think that you just play the rookie and just let him go in there and play. But when you have some head coaches and GMs that got their job on the line, they want to go with the veteran quarterback first, and then if it doesn't work out, then they put the rookie in there to kind of save the season. But now you have Russell Wilson, who comes over from the Steelers, and now he's going to take over a Giants team that wasn't good last year at quarterback. And Daniel Jones is now in with the Colts, and so now you have a Russell Wilson. And by the way, I don't like Russell Wilson when it comes to him playing the Redskins, the Commanders, or the Washington football team, or any team in Washington, because all he's done is beat us year after year. Every time he plays us, he beat us last year when he was with the Steelers. And so Russell Wilson, you get a veteran quarterback that can still throw those looping passes and get you. But he's not. If you put pressure on him, though, then you can hurt him. But if you give him time, he's still effective.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, you just want to go with that veteran, like you said. When the coaches have their drop on the line, you want to go with the player that has the most experience and has a Super Bowl championship. He's a champion. You want to go with somebody like that versus just a rookie. And I mean, they've done that. Most coaches do that. They try to rush their rookies to play. But just let them develop. I mean, develop behind a Super Bowl winning quarterback. You just let them develop. That's what I say about my quarterbacks that we have in Cleveland. Like, just let them develop. Go behind a veteran, proven Super Bowl winning quarterback. You got to let them just develop, because they still, even though they were good at the college level, doesn't mean that they can do the same thing in the NFL, because it's totally different. You got to learn how to be a pro. And that's what Mahomes did. Mahomes did it. Michael Vick did it. Montana, Rodgers, like all these guys that are great quarterbacks of all, one of the great quarterbacks of all time. You have to see that it works when you just let them sit and develop.
Right.
You're trying to force them into like this. And plus, a lot of these coaches try to force these quarterbacks into their scheme and wonder why they don't play well, because you don't allow them to play their game and like let them develop and learn the game or whatever, but at the NFL level. But I feel like that game should be pretty good, because it's going to be a defensive struggle to me from what I see, because the Giants defense is actually, they said they might be top 5 this year, top 10.
It's scary. I'm actually worried about this game. All the hype. We're coming off a crazy season where we went to the NFC Championship, and then the Giants really are coming in. And these division games, just as well as I do, that these division games are always, tricky. even the bottom team can beat some of the top teams in the division. And so, with that said, let's go over to the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns, I think, have the Bengals this week. Correct? Bengals coming in
Yes.
home
Yes.
game against the Bengals, and
Yep.
all off season, we talk about quarterbacks all the time, man. We've being a Redskins fan and Commanders fan for 30 years, we haven't had good quarterback play. The Cleveland Browns really haven't had good quarterback play either. And I think I talked to you about this last season, that Joe Flacco took them to the playoffs, a couple of seasons ago. And then all of a sudden you're looking around for Joe Flacco last year, they shipped him off to the Colts. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. If you got a Deshaun Watson problem, why did you just ship the guy that just took you to the playoffs? I mean, I understand that he's 40 or whatever years old, but he took you to the playoffs and looked good doing it. So you mean to tell me, and from what I understand, did he beat the Houston Texans in the playoffs, or did they lose?
We lost because their team. So because the first time we played them, we beat them in the season. Then the playoffs came, and they had all their players come back from injury. So we didn't see those guys, and they just came back and stumped us pretty much. We were surprised. I was like, whoa, where'd this come from?
That's crazy. Yeah. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in a minute, and then we'll pick up with the Browns in 1 second. We'll be back in a minute. Yeah, your phone about to die?
Yeah, this one. I didn't know I was going to be on the phone for this.
Yeah, go get the charger.
Trying to see something. It's going to mess up. I'll go as long as I can.
Nah, go get your charger. I'll do another minute.
It's not going to charge that fast, though. I might have to take the mic off that I put on to put the charger in.
All right, we are back, and we're talking the NFL Week 1. I'm Lonnie Washington along with Tony Robinson. He's in Texas. I am in Arizona, and we're excited that the NFL season is here. We're going to start talking about the Cleveland Browns because there's been a lot of talk all offseason about the Cleveland Browns quarterback situation. And at one point, I think about up to a week or so ago, they had 6 quarterbacks on their roster. And I'm saying to myself, yo, man, you got 6 quarterbacks. Are you kidding me? And of course, the controversy was in the NFL draft. They drafted Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round. And then because Shedeur Sanders was sitting there in the 5th round, they said, hey, this is too big a deal for us to pass in the 5th round. We have a guy in Shedeur that was supposed to go in the 1st round. So let's just grab him too. So now you had Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders. You had Huntley on your team at one point, and then you've got the Deshaun Watson sitting there, rehabbing his Achilles, and he's making $60 million a year, and you've got all these quarterbacks. And you guys, I mean, I just don't understand it. So I'm just trying to figure out right now, what is the current quarterback situation in Cleveland?
Well, to get back to your talking about our 6 quarterbacks we had, Huntley was only there for a preseason contract. It wasn't. It just had to fill in the gaps. But yeah, so I'm happy where we're at. We're starting Flacco. People were saying, why not start Gabriel? Why not start Shedeur Sanders? But like I said earlier, I feel like these guys need to wait. They need to sit back and just wait. A lot of people think that the coaching staff don't like Shedeur or like whatever, is trying to put him up against Dylan Gabriel because he went 3rd round or whatever. I just feel like they want to let these guys develop. They don't want to rush them because for the last, I'm 45 years. I've been a Browns fan for 45 years. And the last quarterback that we had.
How many championships?
We haven't won a championship since like 66. But the last time we were good and had a good quarterback was when we had Bernie Kosar, and this is when we had Belichick too. So
Mm-hmm.
we had Bill. Bill was our coach in the '90s. We were killing it. So from then on, after that, we haven't had a stable quarterback. And I've been saying all these years the reason why we don't have a stable quarterback because we think the grass is always green on the other side. They were
Mm-hmm.
talking about getting Arch Manning. And I'm like, why would you want Arch Manning? I mean, if we want Arch Manning, then we're gonna have to go like 0-16 again or like whatever
Oh
to
man.
actually get somebody of that caliber. But he didn't have a good game this past weekend, but he went against a Buckeye team that was really, really good on defense, and we have a pro style
Mm-hmm.
defensive coach. So I don't think he's gonna see a defense like that again. But let's park that. I feel like trying to go for another quarterback it makes me think again like it's the grass is always greener on the other side. And our
Mm-hmm.
Browns fans, and we just have to get past that. We have to go what we
Mm-hmm.
have. We got two top quarterbacks. That one was the leading, what is it? The leading the most accurate quarterback, and one had the most passing touchdowns. So it's like you have two good quarterbacks. One is shorter, one is 6'1", 6'2", whatever. But that's a thing. But I feel like we just have to go with what we have and stop looking in the draft every year because we've been
Mm-hmm.
so bad. We always look into the draft to see what's next, and that's the grass is always greener mentality versus watering what you have on your team. They're already
Right.
looking to the next team, the next player, and I'm like, just stay with who we have. I mean, Flacco is going to be able to mentor these guys. He say he doesn't want to be a mentor, but he's going to mentor
Yeah.
ways of just doing and like showing them how to prepare for games and how to prepare for a season game like NFL season game because it's a grind. So he has, even though he's 40, he has a multitude. He has so many years of like all this stuff to know to pass it down to them. They're going to be observing him, what he's doing, how he prepares and stuff like that. So but with the Deshaun Watson thing, I heard some things about Deshaun Watson coming. They like what they see. They like how he's training. They like how he's healing. They have to put this out there. Maybe they're putting it
Yeah.
out there
And
because
yeah.
they probably put it out there so they can try to get a trade, but nobody's gonna take that contract. We already know that.
No, 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 nobody ain't touching that one. But
But I mean, only like we talked about yesterday, the only way that he'll come back and play is if something happens to Flacco. That's the only thing. The way I feel, you know.
no, no, nobody, no. Okay, so you've got Flacco, right? If something happens to Flacco in this game, you're gonna roll Gabriel out there to run this offense.
I don't think they're ready. I mean, they're going to be doing the same thing that I've just talked about, like not letting the guys develop. We always rush our quarterbacks out there, Baker Mayfield, Johnny Manziel, because they're the top quarterbacks coming in. But if you don't have a good
Mhm.
team to support them, you can't force them out there like that. Even though I think our team is better than what Manziel and Baker had for a little bit. Um, I just feel like you can't rush these guys out there. Just let them develop and see how it goes from there. But I mean, if we might have to. I mean, because they may not want to bring Watson back. That's the only thing I can think of because there's
Yeah.
no other quarterback we can get with that kind of contract, looming or just sitting there, that we made a few years ago. I was giving Watson a lot of I was giving Watson a
Ooh,
lot of, I was
oof,
backing him up for
man.
those first couple
Oh
years. I was
man.
like doing all this stuff, but then when you find out he's going to go under center to, run your offense, that's almost like the majority of our offense when we had Chubb because we was running the play action, run, play action, deep ball down the field. But when you come into camp when we signed you and say, "Oh, I want to stay in the shotgun," that doesn't help anything. Like you can't use the Stefanski can't use like 50% or more of his offense because you won't go into play. You won't go under center.
Yeah.
Like, that's not conducive to a great offensive team. So um
What is your? I mean, we were talking earlier. What is your running back situation right now with Junkins and things of that nature? I think you were saying that they need to sign him this week, and even if they sign him this week, he's not gonna be game ready. And so, I mean, you have the Cincinnati Bengals coming in there, and the juggernaut offense coming in there, the Joe Cool, right, coming into Cleveland. And what is your expectations, at your running back position, and what is your expectation for this particular game coming up?
Uh, it could be a shootout. Because
Really?
they don't have a good defense. So I'm thinking that Flacco knows their defense, and I feel like they're gonna have a good game plan in place where they could run, pass, whatever. This is just me being an optimist too, but I'm just looking
Oh
at
yeah,
the
I
how bad their defense
mean,
is, and the reason why I say it's gonna be a shootout is because they have a bad defense, and you know what Joe Burrow does. You know
right.
he has those two guys. Uh, the receivers there, they're like one A and one B could be
Hmm.
one of the best receivers in the league, potentially. But yeah, it's just I think that we're gonna be like a dark horse that nobody really talks about. That's just gonna
Hmm.
shine through. And that's just my optimism, obviously, but but I feel like we have a shot. We
I
have a
mean,
shot.
wait,
It's just I'm just being
hey,
optimistic.
Cleveland always, gets some signature wins within the division. It's
Oh yeah,
funny. I mean, you look up and they might not have a great team against everybody else, but they pretty much hold their own though in the
we
division.
play hard. We play hard in the division. It was a couple years when we beat the Baltimore Ravens when they were like top in the division twice. We beat them twice.
Hmm.
We beat the Steelers or we beat Cincinnati twice. But people don't see that. They just look at our record. But it's like we
Right.
beat.
So,
Yeah.
all right. So are you picking Cleveland? Uh, are you? I'm not saying against the spread.
Oh, it broke
I,
up.
I'm not saying. I said, are you picking Cleveland in this game? I'm not saying against the spread. I'm saying straight up, are you picking the Cleveland Browns to win this game outright?
I got the Browns winning 24-23.
Okay, all right, that's
One
fair, and
point.
it could be one of those games. It could be one of those
I
games.
feel
But I
good.
think Joe Cool's putting up 30. So if Cleveland only going to put up 23, I think Joe Cool putting up 30
Well,
with
not against
Chase
our defense. Not against our defense.
and
We
I
got a
don't know,
top
man. It's
five
gonna
defense
be
too.
it's going to be interesting to see it. So, with that being said, we got to move on, and it's an interesting schedule this week because they got the Cowboys and the Eagles playing on Thursday night, but then they got a Friday night game. And that game Friday night is going to be Chiefs at Chargers, which is going to be an interesting game, and this is going to be one of the toughest divisions also in the NFL. You got three teams in that division actually that made the playoffs last year: the Chiefs, Chargers, and Broncos. And all they did was get better. And everybody's talking about how bad the Chiefs lost, but the Chiefs actually retooled too their offensive line. And then you got the Jason Kelsey story when he just got engaged to Taylor Swift. He lost weight and he was beating himself over the head that he thought that he had too many distractions outside of football last year. And he's taking a lot of credit for that. But Chiefs going into the Chargers. Who do you got winning
They're
that game?
they're in Brazil, actually.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. Yeah. They're in Brazil, but the
Yeah,
Chargers is a team. So yeah, that,
yeah,
that yeah,
yeah. But
and
it's
it's
a
still a home
neutral
team.
site, so
Yeah. So who do you think is going to win that game overall? You think Patrick Mahomes is going to come back with a vengeance, just to kind of like let people know that hey, we still that team.
well, I'm gonna say this. I mean, Kelsey plays well against the Chargers. He had the most big games against the Chargers. I think it's one because I had
Hmm.
him in fantasy a couple years ago, and he put up like 35 points in fantasy. Just like he had like 3 touchdowns and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But I feel like he can have the same kind of game because you got Hollywood Brown coming back from injury. He's gonna be another speedster wide receiver.
Yep.
Um, you have the receiving core is just all fast guys, so it's going to open up
Hmm.
Kelsey a lot more. Even though he's older, he wanted to retire potentially, but I feel like he still is going to have a big game against the Chargers because that's just what he does against the Chargers. I mean, I haven't seen it. The last couple games they played, he played really well against them. So, I mean, I
Yeah,
know
he
that's
did. Yeah.
previous years, but I feel like it's the same because Mahomes want to find his guy. Kelsey is his guy. He wants to get the ball to them
Yeah.
every time. So, because they work so well together. So, and I think the run
Yeah.
game would be okay, but I think the Chargers defense is going to be pretty solid too.
Oh
They're
yeah.
on the offensive side. I feel like the coach likes to run the ball, but I feel like the quarterback's gonna run the ball a lot more this year too. So
Hmm.
he wants to try to get back to when he was in San Francisco with Kaepernick. Uh,
But Justin Herbert is always, everybody talks about him as being a top 10 quarterback, but last year he didn't pass for a lot of yards. I mean, I think that Harbaugh came in from Michigan, and he's always wanting to establish the run. So
mhm.
he's going to establish the run and set up the pass, and that's just what he's going to do. And his defense is going to play really tough. I think that division is going to be a really good division. I'm still picking the Chiefs on a neutral site, but watch out for the Chargers this year. My team, the Commanders, we have to go to LA and actually play the Chargers this year. So that's a game that I'm looking to possibly go to. But that's going to be a really good game, and that sets us up for on a Friday night this week. So also you have some other games. You have Ravens and Bills. This is going to be the Sunday night game. It's a preview of last year's, a rematch of last year's playoff game. Ravens is going to the Bills. There's not going to be any cold weather. It's an early season game in September. It's going to be beautiful weather. And the Ravens, that's a team in your division in the AFC North. If they really want to get out to a good start, this is a really good game that I'm going to be watching on Sunday night. What do you think about it?
Yeah, it's going to be a shootout. I think with no weather issues, I feel like the Ravens. I think the Ravens are going to win this only because their defense is a little more stout. They added some good DBs. They added who did they add? The DB they added.
The Ravens.
Yeah, they Ramsey. Didn't they add
Yeah,
Ramsey or somebody
Ramsey.
like that? No, or did he go
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Pittsburgh?
He's no. Ramsey didn't go to.
He's
I
with
don't
the,
think he went there.
he went to the Ravens or whichever one. But they added some good defensive players in the offseason. And I feel like their defense is going to be really really hard to beat. And Buffalo's defense is a little. They're not as tough as they used to be. Only when they play at home is when they play good. But you said they're going to be with the Ravens, right?
Yeah, no, they're playing in Buffalo.
Oh, in Buffalo. Okay, so in Buffalo,
Yeah, they're
yeah,
playing in Buffalo.
Buffalo. Well, so I mean, I just feel like their offense, the Ravens' offense, is going to be better than Buffalo Bills because the defense of the Ravens are always good. They play the Buffalo Bills really well on the
Mm-hmm.
defensive side. Um, But the offensive side, I don't think they can stop Lamar Jackson. I don't think they can, but I have the Ravens winning
Yeah,
that game.
but yeah, I think the Ravens is probably going to win the game. The Ravens are a great regular season team. They're just not too good in the
Playoffs,
playoffs. So I mean,
yeah.
they're like the Dallas Cowboys, and if Lamar Jackson wants to solidify himself as um, one of the best players to play the game after it's over. He's going to have to start winning in the playoffs because, as you said earlier in this live, that people are measuring you by how many Super Bowls you win and how good you win in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
And he hasn't done too well in the playoffs, and I don't care if it's not all his fault, but he's got a tight end drop in the past that could have extended the drive to win
Mhm.
the game. So there's always something going on in the playoffs with Lamar Jackson. He's a great player, definitely top 3 quarterback in the league, but until he starts to win or even go to a Super Bowl. I mean, going to a Super Bowl is a big
Yeah,
deal.
you can't always. That's the part that I hate about like when everybody's judging quarterbacks, even though they may not win. They say Dak is like Kirk Cousins. That's what Amari Cooper said before they shipped him off to Cleveland. uh, uh, but you can't put all the blame on the quarterback because there's 10 other guys that have to be able to protect him. They are guys that got to be able to catch the ball. There's a defense that has to show up too to stop the other team. So just to put it all on one player every single time, I don't like that because I used to be a quarterback, so it's kind of hard for me to like allow or like subscribe to like somebody just blaming one player on a team of 53. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like you can't sit here and say, it's Lamar Jackson's fault when his tight end dropped the ball, to score a touchdown, like, to win the game or whatever. You can't, I don't know, you can't blame just one player. What do you think about that? You there?
Yeah, we look like we're getting it back here. It looks like the Wi-Fi went down for a second.
Okay.
You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, yeah. So Wi-Fi went down for a second. That's the only thing that with live, technical difficulties happen.
Right, right. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if you heard what you heard. What I was saying, I was basically saying that blaming one person on a whole team of 53 is not the way to go to me. Because
Hello.
I played
All
quarterback, and
right.
it's like, you hear me?
Yeah, we are back, and we were talking NFL football. I lost my good partner Tony Robinson. He's in Texas, and just some technical difficulties with the stream. But we are back. We'll be back. What did you say? Yeah, let me back. And I'm actually still streaming too. Yeah, I just have it on. I just have it on this commercial break right now. It's a timer counting down. Yeah, that's all right. We're good. We can end the stream. It's fine. I mean, we got a good 45 minutes in, and I'm going to end it because your phone's about to die. And it was weird that like it went, like I saw the connection going down and it says unstable, but I'm looking at my internet, man, and I still have a strong internet connection. So yeah, so I'm not sure if StreamYard had something going on their side, but it just says telling me that my connection is unstable, but all my stuff say that we're good. So we're gonna let's